Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and I'm going to do our July the 14th spiritual principle day in a meditation. I hope you're doing well this morning. It's good to be with you. When I say that today, I really have an extra sense of gratitude added to that statement. It's really good to be with you. Okay. The title of today's meditation is Acceptance in Relationships. Recovery is not always a tidy process. We are building intimate relationships with other people and with a power greater than ourselves, and neither of these comes naturally to all of us. That comes from the Living Clean book, chapter 5, opening essay. Before getting clean, a meaningful relationship was one that got us what we wanted. Now, more and more, we find ourselves getting to know and love other people through NA, sometimes members we never would have expected to connect with. We start by being honest and empathetic with the eccentric bunch of clean addicts we find in recovery. Through working the steps, we also, to our surprise, begin to develop intimacy with a higher power. But we don't always know what to make of these new assets. Our lives are surely better with their addition, so we accept these unforeseen gifts even when it feels awkward. We realize these new relationships can teach us a lot. We make progress even when it's two steps forward and one step back. Our intentions aren't to cause pain, but sometimes we end up doing just that. We lean on our sponsor for help and learn to apply spiritual principles. We are starting to accept the fact that we need other people. We also accept our need for restoration to sanity and seek out a power greater than ourselves for help with that. Some of us return to a spiritual practice we grew up with, others discover, define, and create beliefs that work for them. We pray, we listen, and if our heads are in the right place, sometimes we even get answers. One member said, even when I feel disconnected from my higher power, I can still believe that you believe. And some days, that's good enough. Relationships with a higher power and other people have rough patches even when we work a program. Our ability to accept ourselves and others helps us learn from challenging relationships instead of running from them. We can stay clean and continue to grow even as our spiritual connections and relationships ebb and flow. When we work the steps, our relationships get better over time, just like we do. Even though it's messy at times, I can give myself credit for how far I've come in learning to build relationships with others and with my higher power. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today. Please and thank you. Wow. Whew, that was amazing. I had to take a sip of coffee on that one. The reason why I say it's amazing is because I'm sitting here thinking about acceptance in relationships and how it's true. Before getting clean, this very first sentence is true, right? Before getting clean, a meaningful relationship was one that got us what we wanted. So, my definition of a beautiful relationship, a meaningful relationship, was measured by how much it fulfilled what I wanted, what I thought I needed. Self centered at best. That's just my story. I can say that this is 100% true of me. Look at your own story. My story, this was true. If he looked like arm candy, I wanted him on my arm. And if he could be on my arm, even regardless to all the other stuff he might have been doing, cheating, lying, stealing, if he was that arm candy on my arm and he was able to fulfill his role of looking good at whatever I was trying to do, then that was enough for me. If the sex was good, that was enough for me, right? If the money kept flowing, that was enough for me. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I feel like when I look back on those relationships I call myself being in, they were very self-centered, very self-centered. You can be married and be a trick with your own husband. I know that. I'm talking from my own experience, right? Because it was a trade-off. It was a barter. It was something that I wanted and something that he wanted. And if I got what I wanted, I didn't care about the rest. Because 9 times out of 10, I really wasn't in love with you to begin with. So none of that matters to me. Whatever else you want to do, that's fine, long as I get what I want. This first sentence, I can say, was 100% true for me. How much different are we compared to now and before we got clean when it comes to relationships? Even if we don't look at anything else, like we just did the meditation for just for today, it's an inside job. If we don't look at anything else in that regards, how do we operate when it comes to relationships? Just look at that one piece. Are we any different than we were before we got clean? Are we different now? And look at who we were in relationships before we got clean. If the answer is no, bingo, we have an issue. We got some more work to do, right? Because I can tell you today, as a married woman, there's a whole lot of things that don't go my way. A whole lot of things that do not go my way. And I do not make the decision about whether or not I stay or go based on having to have things go my way. Okay. I'm a lot more tolerant than I used to be because I need for someone that can be tolerant with me, even when they don't like me. I need that love to come through, and vice versa. So I was sitting here thinking about this meditation, and I thought when I was doing the serenity prayer, God grant us the serenity to accept things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Do you know how many of us have ended up in a pickle because we did not have the wisdom to know what it was that we needed to accept and what it was that we needed to change? That's an issue. There's a whole lot of us that stay in abusive relationships because we don't understand that we just need courage to change the things that we can. We're sitting stuck on stupid, traveling all around the country, sharing, and we got this secret that we're in an abusive relationship and we can't even change it. We don't believe that we can. We don't understand that we don't have the wisdom to know that we can, right? And we don't understand that we just need courage to change it. That prayer alone goes very well with this meditation. And if for the newcomer, because I know there's some of us old heads in here, I'm coming up on what, 31 years. Unfortunately, that's a lot of clean time around here nowadays. Because by the time you start getting into my age bracket and above, there's so many other health issues that come in that a lot of times we end up losing, not even from, I should say, picking up the drug, but just because of poor health. And so, yeah, I know some people that have 38 years. I think I know a couple people that are in the 40-year bracket, but 3 decades just seems to be a lot around here. And I never thought that 3 decades would be considered old timer. Okay. But the fact remains that there's a lot of us that have that amount of clean time and have chosen to stick out our time in poor functioning relationships because we actually feel that, one, we don't deserve better. Two, oh, we could do better, but we don't care to do better. Or three, we'll stay in it and still get better. We'll cheat and get what we want from someone else. Where there's no way we're giving up giving up insurance policies and the benefit of being with someone all those years, right? So there's some of us old timers that just assume it's more profitable for us to remain in the relationships we are. I'm talking to the newcomers right here, and it could be you too if you've been around a while, right? I'm talking to everybody. If you take the serenity prayer, and even if you're not a journaler, if you take the serenity prayer and make it a part of your 10th step activity at some point in the day, like if you work third shift, your 10th step probably is something that you do in the morning. If you have a regular day life, right? Your 10th step work can be something that you do in the evening. Even if you're not on the 10th step, I want for you as a newcomer, as a young person in recovery, I want you to get in the habit of going over the course of your day and trying to itemize the areas that you felt good about and the areas that you felt bad about. Now, if you knew the areas that you felt bad about, you may not actually understand the character defects that fed into that. You may not. But I want you to get in the habit of doing 10th step work, even though you're not there. If you're a newcomer, I want you to get in the habit of journaling your day. Okay. Let me keep that simple for you. I don't even want to attach 10th step work to it. I want you to get in the habit of journaling your day because when you journal on a regular basis, that is actually what you're kind of doing. Okay. And I want you to take whatever you write down and sort it through, sift it through, rather, the serenity prayer and figure out for yourself, is this something that I need the serenity to accept something that I can't change? Or is this something that I need courage to change the things that I can? Is this something that I don't know and I need wisdom to know the difference? There's 3 components that you ought to be able to drag out of the serenity prayer. Serenity for acceptance, courage for change, wisdom to know the difference. It's just that simple. There's 3 things that you ought to be able to pull out of that and sort your journaling through. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Right? Write the serenity at the head of your journal, at the top of your page. Grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. That's number 1. Number 2, the courage to change things that I can, right? Excuse me. Number 1, the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Number 2, the courage to change the things that I can. Number 3, the wisdom to know the difference, right? Or if you need to even simplify it even more, 1, serenity to accept. 2, courage to change. 3, wisdom to know, and leave it at that. And as you go through your journaling, you begin to write a number 1, a number 2, or a number 3. If you get in the habit of doing that, eventually you'll continue to do the writing. Excuse me, let me take a sip of coffee. There we go. So you will continue to do the writing, but mentally, As you're going through these circumstances, you will already start sifting the serenity prayer out as you live your life. Not hindsight being 2020 at the end of your day, right? As you're journaling, but you will begin to be able to employ this spiritual principle through the course of your day. You'll be able to stop yourself before you even act, or you will be able to stop the procrastination and take action, because this will become such an integral part of who you are. My advice is, if you could start it, my suggestion is, if you can start it now, go for it, because it can only help you. You know, my development with a relationship with other people, with God, it changed over time. I could look back over my life and tell where I was really, really intense and integral about maintaining these relationships, and where I dropped off. And I usually can go back and see I dropped off because there was something that happened that I couldn't change, and I became angry about not being able to change it. I didn't have any serenity about it. I had a lack of acceptance, and I became angry, and I dropped the ball on everything else because I could not have things go my way. This cancer that I'm dealing with, I tell you what, it falls in the area of things that will usually send me into a tailspin. If I look back over my past, the difference, the difference in my recovery today and my recovery even 5 years ago, there's a world of difference. There's so many things that I have attained, right? Including working on this PhD. There's so many things that I have attained in the last 5 years that I know that prior to that, if something came up with my health, I would allow it to stop everything. Today, I have to put some things on pause, but I'm not going to allow this cancer to make everything stop. I'm not going to allow it to change my attitude. Matter of fact, I've given people that are close to me permission to remind me of the things that I've said about having this breast cancer, right? When the days get rough, the therapy becomes like chemotherapy becomes every week, and I'm tired and don't know what to do, right? Worried about finances or whatever. I've given these people permission to remind me. Just look me in my face and tell me that you love me, and remind me, remember you said, Mighty Stream, it's not always just about you. See, because I don't want to get into this treatment plan for this cancer and bail out just because I'm tired, just because I'm weak, just because I don't like the side effects that are going through my body. Because everyone that I know that has actually completed the course of treatments, chemotherapy, matter of fact, the people that I know that did it and died, it was a hope shot. They were palliative at best anyway, but they wanted to see if they could beat this. I'm curative. Right. And that alone is enough to carry me on this wave of hope. Right. And that's why I've told people, when I get to that point where I'd be like, this is not worth it, you need to grab a hold of me and remind me that I said that I knew this was coming, and not to give up. As long as you can tell that I'm breathing, there has to be hope for me to live. Right. And so I'm using this meditation today, July 14th, I'm using it as a way to mark where I'm at in my recovery. And I can say, I'm in the game to win it. I'm way different than I was even 5 years ago. And it's messy right now, the end of this, right? Even though it's messy at times, I'll give myself credit for how far I've come in learning to build relationships with others and with my higher power. And believe me, in the last 5 years, Mighty Stream has come far. The pandemic helped me. I don't know about you, but I'm grateful for everything that I went through from 2019 on. I'm grateful for all that I passed through because it's made my recovery stronger and a more agreeable person when it comes to recovery. Now, listen, I know that was deep and long, but it was well worth it, wouldn't you say? I want for you to have a beautiful day on purpose. You know why? Because I believe in you. I know that you can do it and you deserve it. And if you don't do it, no one else is going to be able to do it for you. So let's go, guys. Have a beautiful day.